The story opens on a cold December evening, as the town's Christmas market comes alive with music, laughter, and glowing lights. Wooden stalls line the square, decorated with garlands and ribbons, and the scent of roasted chestnuts and pine fills the air. Amid all this warmth and cheer stands one stall that seems almost invisible. It belongs to the widow, positioned slightly away from the busiest path, as if the town itself has quietly pushed her to the margins. She arrives early, carefully arranging her handmade candles on the rough wooden table. Each candle is the result of long nights spent working by dim light, melting wax, shaping wicks, and pouring hope into every mold. They are simple but beautiful, scented faintly with cinnamon and pine, meant to carry the spirit of Christmas into someone's home. As she works, her hands move with practiced care, though they tremble slightly from the cold and from the quiet fear she tries not to acknowledge. These candles are not just goods for sale, they are her chance to make it through the winter. As the market fills with people, she straightens her shawl and forces a gentle smile. Families pass by, children tugging at their parents' sleeves, couples laughing as they sip hot drinks. People glance at her stall, then look away. Some whisper to one another, others simply walk faster. No one stops. The widow notices the way their eyes slide past her candles, as if seeing them would require seeing her too, and that is something they seem unwilling to do. Time stretches on. The sky darkens, lanterns flicker to life, and the air grows colder. She rubs her hands together, trying to warm them, and tells herself to be patient. Surely someone will come. Surely one candle will sell. But as the minutes turn into hours, the table remains full. Each untouched candle feels heavier than the last, pressing down on her chest with quiet disappointment. Her thoughts drift to what she has lost: her husband, her home as it once was, her place in the town. Since becoming a widow, she has learned how quickly people can look past someone they do not know how to face. Tonight, that loneliness feels sharper than ever. Surrounded by celebration, she has never felt more alone. Still, she does not pack up. She remains standing, shoulders squared, eyes scanning the crowd with a fragile hope that refuses to die completely. The candles glow faintly under the lantern light, waiting for hands that never reach for them. This moment establishes the emotional heart of the story: a woman overlooked, standing quietly in the cold, holding on to dignity and hope when everything around her suggests she should give up. As the night deepens and the crowd thins, the widow's thoughts begin to wander inward, drawn back through the years that led her to this lonely stall. Standing there, surrounded by unsold candles, she cannot help but reflect on how different life once was. There was a time when Christmas meant warmth that had nothing to do with lanterns or fires, warmth that came from shared laughter, familiar routines, and the steady presence of her husband. She remembers him clearly, his easy smile, the way he used to tease her as they decorated their small home, the pride he took in honest work. When he died, the loss was not sudden drama but a slow, devastating unraveling. First came the silence in the house, then the bills she did not know how to pay alone, and finally the quiet shift in how the town looked at her. Sympathy faded quickly, replaced by distance and unspoken judgment. People began to see her less as a neighbor and more as a burden, a reminder of misfortune they preferred not to acknowledge. Invitations stopped coming. Conversations became shorter. Even simple kindness felt rare, as though her grief made others uncomfortable. She learned to carry herself carefully, aware that every glance could turn into pity, or worse, dismissal. The candles were born out of necessity, but they also became her refuge. With little money and few options, she taught herself how to make them, working late into the night after her daily chores were done. The repetitive motions of melting wax and trimming wicks gave her a sense of control in a life that had spiraled beyond her grasp. Each candle held not just wax and scent, but hours of quiet perseverance. Yet tonight, as they remain untouched, her doubts rise to the surface. She wonders if the town sees the candles as they see her, unwanted, overlooked, and easy to ignore. The weight of judgment presses down on her, making her feel smaller with each passing moment. She questions whether she belongs here at all, whether setting up this stall was foolish hope rather than courage. Still, beneath the ache and self-doubt, there is resilience. She has endured too much to surrender easily. Though her heart feels heavy, she refuses to collapse under the stares and silences. Instead, she lifts her chin and stays where she is, even as the cold bites deeper. This part of the story reveals her inner strength, shaped by loss and sharpened by judgment, setting the stage for the quiet dignity that will soon be noticed by someone who sees beyond the surface. As the widow stands alone among her unsold candles, a distant sound interrupts the quiet hum of the market, the soft jingle of spurs and the rhythmic clop of hooves on cobblestones. A cowboy, tall and rugged with a worn hat shadowing his eyes, rides into the square. Unlike the townspeople, he moves at his own pace, surveying the market not for distractions or gossip, but for something, or someone, that catches his attention. He notices the widow's stall immediately. There's a subtle difference in the way she carries herself, a quiet strength beneath her obvious loneliness. While others rush past or avert their gaze, he stops at a deliberate distance, letting the glow of her candles illuminate her face. Her eyes, tired yet steady, meet his, and in that brief glance, a connection forms, not romantic or fleeting, but a recognition of shared understanding, someone who has known hardship and perseverance. The cowboy dismounts, his boots crunching on the snow-dusted ground. He approaches without fanfare, taking in the candles and the care poured into each one. "Beautiful work," he says simply, his voice deep yet gentle, carrying no judgment, only respect. It is the first real acknowledgement she has received all evening, and it stirs something fragile yet profound within her, a flicker of hope. As they talk, she reveals little at first, letting her words drift between them like the smoke from the wicks. But the cowboy listens. He does not interrupt, does not pity, does not rush. He hears about her husband, about her struggles, about the isolation that has made even festive gatherings feel like tests of endurance. His presence is calm and grounding, a stark contrast to the judgmental whisper she has grown accustomed to. There is a subtle magic in the way he interacts with her stall. He examines the candles as if they are treasures, appreciating the intricate details, the scents, the love infused into each one. This is a man who sees worth where others see nothing, a person whose gaze affirms rather than diminishes. For the widow, this is transformative. Someone has finally acknowledged not just her craft, but her existence, her effort, and her perseverance. By the end of this part, the cowboy's arrival has shifted the story's emotional tone. The widow's despair, heavy and isolating, begins to lift ever so slightly. The introduction of this compassionate stranger plants the seed for the pivotal act of kindness that will soon follow, promising that even in the coldest, loneliest moments, unexpected warmth, and human connection, can appear when least expected. The cowboy, after listening to the widow's quiet story, makes a decision that will change the course of her evening, and perhaps her life. Without hesitation, he reaches into his coat and begins purchasing every candle on her table. One by one, he hands her the coins, and with each transaction, a mixture of disbelief and gratitude washes over her. This simple act, something so ordinary in its mechanics, carries extraordinary weight. Someone has recognized her labor, her dedication, and her worth. But he doesn't stop at buying them. With a gentle smile, he begins lighting the candles, placing them carefully around the stall and on nearby ledges. Their flickering flames cast a warm, golden glow that cuts through the cold night air, turning the widow's modest corner into a scene of enchanting beauty. Shadows dance across her face, softening the lines of fatigue and sorrow, while the waxy glow reflects off the nearby snow, amplifying the light and warmth in a way she has not felt in years. As the candles illuminate the space, passers-by start to notice. First, it is a few curious children who are drawn to the sparkling lights, then their parents, who pause to admire the unusual spectacle. Whispers ripple through the market as more people approach, astonished at the transformation. A lonely, overlooked stall now radiates warmth and charm. The widow stands at the center, overwhelmed by the sudden attention and the kindness of a stranger who has seen her not as invisible, but as worthy of care and recognition. The act of lighting the candles goes beyond the physical. Each flame becomes a symbol of hope, resilience, and human connection. The cowboy's gesture demonstrates that kindness does not always have to be grand or public, it can be personal, deliberate, and profoundly moving. For the widow, this moment begins to chip away at the isolation she has carried for so long. The market, which had earlier felt cold and unwelcoming, now feels alive, filled with the promise that compassion can pierce even the darkest of nights. By the end of this part, the widow experiences a mixture of astonishment, relief, and joy. She watches as the cowboy quietly stands back, allowing her to absorb the effect of the candles. The silent message is clear: someone sees her, values her, and has chosen to act on it. This turning point in the story sets up the emotional resolution, showing that even a single act of generosity can illuminate not only a physical space but also the human heart, rekindling hope and connection where it seemed lost. As the candles' warm glow spreads across the market square, the townspeople begin to gather, drawn by the soft light and the unusual sight of a lonely stall transformed into a small sanctuary of warmth. Curiosity turns into admiration as they notice the care and beauty in each candle, and murmurs of appreciation ripple through the crowd. The widow, once invisible and overlooked, now finds herself at the center of attention, not for scandal, gossip, or pity, but for the quiet dignity and craft she has nurtured through years of hardship. She stands stunned, feeling a mix of relief, gratitude, and something deeper she had long forgotten, a sense of belonging. The cowboy, who has remained quietly at her side, watches the scene unfold with a gentle smile. He does not seek recognition or applause, his satisfaction comes from knowing that he has reminded someone of her own worth. The townspeople, witnessing his gesture, begin to reassess their own judgments and assumptions, realizing that the widow is not defined by her solitude or her losses but by her resilience, talent, and heart. The widow's emotions swell as she watches children laugh around the glowing candles, couples pause to admire their flickering light, and neighbors approach to offer kind words and encouragement. The simple act of buying and lighting her candles has created a ripple effect, touching everyone present. In that moment, she feels a shift, not just in the market square, but within herself. The loneliness that had weighed so heavily begins to lift, replaced by a fragile but undeniable hope. As the night deepens, the cowboy helps her carefully arrange the remaining candles, ensuring that each flame burns safely and beautifully. Before leaving, he places a reassuring hand on her shoulder and nods, a silent promise that kindness and recognition are possible even in unexpected ways. The widow watches him ride away, feeling an unfamiliar but welcome warmth in her heart. She has been seen, valued, and reminded that connection can come when it is needed most. By the end of the story, the widow realizes that this night is more than a fleeting moment of joy, it is a turning point. The experience teaches her that hope can be rekindled even after long seasons of despair, that human kindness can illuminate the darkest corners of life, and that her future may hold new possibilities for friendship, trust, and community. The once lonely stall becomes a symbol of resilience, a testament to the power of a single act of generosity to change not just a night, but the course of a life. This conclusion leaves readers with a sense of warmth, upliftment, and closure, emphasizing the themes of compassion, recognition, and the transformative power of simple human gestures.